Alright guys, how you all doing today? For me in particular, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. My throat's actually healing up just fine. I don't know if you can tell, but not much coughing, not much hacking. I am pretty grateful for that. But if anything else, I want to welcome you all back to more Umineko. If anything, I'm actually liking the beginning of this episode. So far, it's changed a lot of things where it usually goes into the... I wouldn't say it goes into the game right away or the ritual of the epitaph, but right now we're kind of going into the backstory of both Maria and Ange, and that's both the surprise and the change that I'm actually looking forward to. So if anything else, guys, hope you all continue to enjoy. Thank you all for the love and support, and let's do this. Alright everyone, welcome back again.
いいよ。頑張って、ママ。
そうありがとうね、マリア。ママのお仕事のことを分かってくれてありがとう。
Rosa was very surprised that Maria had accepted with such indifference that she couldn't come home. Telling Maria that she would be coming home later, staying overnight, had been a heavy burden for Rosa. Maria would start crying about how lonely she was on the other end of the phone, and it took a lot of time and effort to calm her down. To think that Maria would accept it in such high spirits. Is this also thanks to Sakutarou? Rosa was once again pleased that she had given such a good present.
明日のこの時間には帰れるようにするわ。明日は一緒に夕食をとりましょう。マリアは夕食はまだよね。コンビニでお弁当を買ってきて食べてね。お菓子はダメよ。ジュースもダメよ。お釣りと一緒にレシートも入れておくのよ。わかった？
サクタロとお買い物、サクタロとお買い物。
あ、こら。サクタロはダメよ。お留守番させなさい。
From Maria's manner of speech, Rosa got the feeling that Maria had been going shopping with that stuffed animal without her knowing about it. Rosa's forehead creased, and after sourly telling Maria that she was absolutely not to, she hung up.
Oh.
Ah, so we get a look into her room now. Well, it's not surprising that it's filled with all these stuffed animals. These are probably her friends. I'm trying to see if there's any Easter eggs here that I would recognize, but I don't think there's anything here at the moment. Unless you guys can tell me, otherwise I'm not certain.
サクタロとお買い物、ダメだってママに言われた。ウリュウ、マリアとお買い物に行けない。一人でお留守番、寂しい。なんでママ、サクタロとお買い物行っちゃダメなんて言うんだろう。おー。ウリュウ、きっと、僕がマリアと一緒にいるのを見られると、恥ずかしいんだよ。恥ずかしい？なんで？ママはよく僕を外に連れて行っちゃいけないって言うし、マリアのことをよくもう何歳になったんだからダメとかそういう言い方をするし。マリアはサクタロと一緒で全然恥ずかしくないよ。僕はライオンだけど、ぬいぐるみだし。ライオンでぬいぐるみだけど、マリアのお友達だよ。だから一緒にお出かけしよう。ママがいない時だけ内緒で。ひょっとしてサクタロも恥ずかしい？僕は恥ずかしくないけど。ウリュウ、ちょっとお外の人が怖い。そっか。じゃあ、サクタロが怖くなくて、一緒にお出かけできるようにする。マリアに任せて、便利なのがあるの。
I'll give it to Maria though, she has quite the vivid imagination, and for all I know, she is quite the ventriloquist. Maria started fishing around her messy room. Rosa often told her to clean it up, but she was just as bad at cleaning up her room. However, she knew more or less where everything was. So much so that whenever Rosa would take it upon herself to tidy up, Maria would have trouble finding things. Ah, I feel that.
ほら見て、サクタロ。ナップザック！
Maria proudly held it up high. Sakutarou looked at the gaping open knapsack and shifted uneasily.
ウリュウ、マリア、もしかして。これなら一緒にお買い物に行けるし、サクタロも怖くないよ。
Maria held Sakutarou up and started stuffing him into the knapsack. At first, she tried to stick him in head first, but then he'd be upside down and suffocate. So she pulled him out and tried pushing him in again, feet first.
ウリュウ、きつい、狭い、暗い。ウリュウ。ほら、大丈夫だよ。頭を出せば狭くないし、暗くないから怖くないよ。景色もいいよ。ウリュウ、本当だ。これなら、マリアと一緒にお買い物に行っても大丈夫？大丈夫だよ。今日のお夕食は何がいいかな？さあさあ、お出かけしよう、サクタ
ラ。マリアお姉ちゃん、楽しそう。
とっても楽しい。一人だったら寂しくてつまらないことでも、サクタロが一緒なら何でも楽しい。どんな人間のお友達だって、夕方になったらお家へ帰らなきゃならない。でもサクタロは帰らないし、いつまでも一緒にいてくれる。一緒にテレビも見るし、お布団の中だって一緒だし、雷が怖い夜には手だって握っていてくれる。クローゼットやベッドの下のお化けだって追っ払ってくれるんだよ。サクタロ頼もしい。ウリュウ。マリアを怖がらせるお化けは、僕、ライオンだから勇気を出して追い払っちゃうよ。
And yet you're terrified of a backpack. It's the small things.
ウリュウ、ガオー。
They were so close that it made me a little envious. I'm supposedly older than Maria Onechan, but I can call her nothing else. Even now she stands above me like an older sister, and I am yet to reach her level. If only I had a friend close by like Sakutarou.
マリアもサクタロも、エンジェの身近なお友達だよ。いつもマリアたちは、エンジェのすぐそばにいる。でも、エンジェの魔法が弱いから、こうしてマリアの日記を開かないと知覚できないだけ。
知覚？マリアお姉ちゃんは、難しい言葉を知ってるね。
According to her, this world is full of magic and spirits. As natural and nearby as a light breeze.
風って普段は気にもしないし見えもしないけれど、お線香の煙とかがたなびくとそれを見ることができるんじゃない？
そうね。そしてそれは見えなくても普段から私たちの身近にあるものだわ。
そういうこと。マリアもサクタロもいつだってエンジェのすぐ近くで一緒なんだよ。神様や精霊、守護霊も私たちのすぐ身近にいるの。でも、意識しないと存在を感じられない。目では見えない風のように。でもそれは確実に私たちの身近にあって、魔力という煙がたなびけば、誰にだって見えるものなの。
I had thought that I could only meet Maria Onechan when I opened this diary. But from what she said, she was always with me and I could meet her at any time if I truly desired to.
マリアは自分の日記に日々の記録と一緒に自分の魂のかけらを残しておいたの。
I don't know how to regard that. That could both be a good and a bad thing.
だからこの日記にはマリアの魔法の力が宿ってるの。
If anything, I'm actually hoping Maria will aid Ange in her journey or her quest to rescue her brother at the very least. But I'm uncertain as to how things will roll in episode 4, considering I was uncertain about how every other episode would end.
でもそれはとても微弱なもので、エンジェ以外の人には誰も感じ取れない。
私にだけはわかるの？
だってエンジェはマリアと同じで魔女の力を宿しているもの。エンジェだってちゃんとお勉強すればきっと将来立派な魔女になれるんだよ。
魔女？それは楽しいのかしら？
楽しいよ。
Well, let's hope for the best your definition of fun isn't what Ava Beatrice's fun is. Or even Beatrice herself.
そうすれば、日記を開かなくても、マリアやサクタロがいつも身近にいるのがわかるようになるよ。そしたら、毎日がとっても楽しくなる。そしたらエンジェに、マリアは他にもたくさんのお友達を紹介できるよ。そしたら毎日が忙しくて、とっても賑やかになるよ。
それは楽しいかもしれない。マリアお姉ちゃんが残した魔導書も持ってるわ。今度、真面目に読んでみるわね。そしたら、私も一人ぼっちじゃなくなるかな。
Maria, Onechan, and Sakutarou said that at the same time, happy that I had developed an interest in the world of witches. With half of Sakutaro's face peeking out the knapsack on her back, Maria walked through the late-night shopping district in high spirits. It was only to be expected given the time. Everyone in the shopping district was either a shop owner, lowering the shutters on their shop, or an employee rushing or else staggering back home. Amidst all that, Maria, in the best of moods as though she was hiking, probably stood out a great deal. The occasionally passing employees glanced backwards over their shoulders at her with the eyes of someone seeing something out of place. Office slaves giggled at the cute stuffed animal poking its head out the knapsack. The supermarket had been closed for a while by this time. However, the recently popular convenience store stayed open until late into the night. It was very convenient for Maria, whose mother's return was often later still. Maria took the knapsack off her back, and hugging it close to her chest, she headed over to the sweet buns corner. She pointed to each of the sweet buns she had eaten before, explaining to Sakutarou that this one was delicious. And that one was pretty good too. Sakutarou seemed to be enjoying it a lot.
マリアは3色パンにする。
I hope she's not making it that obvious. That's what her mother's worried about too. Like if she's like keeping it to herself that she's talking to Sakutarou, then all would be good.
これ一つでね、あんことクリームといちごジャムが食べられるの。でもたまにウグイスあんだったり白あんだったりするの。あんこは一種類でいい。うりゅう、いろいろ入ってて面白そう。うりゅう。あとはマリアはフルーツヨーグルトにする。フルーツ入ってるけどお菓子じゃないよね。うん、きっとママも大丈夫。サクタルもどれか欲しい？うりゅう？いいの？お金は大丈夫？うん、全然平気。ほら、聖徳太子なの。だからサクタロにも好きなものを買ってあげられるよ。一緒に食べよう。サクタロもヨーグルト食べる？
When Maria made to grab another one of the same fruit yogurt, Sakutarou tilted his head as if he was a little worried.
でも、僕、大きいのは食べられないから小さいのでいい。おー、じゃあ、この小さいお菓子ヨーグルトは30円だね。安い。うりゅ、僕はそれでいい。マリアと一緒にヨーグルト。サクタルと一緒にヨーグルト。
Maria put the 3-flavor bun and the 2 yogurts into a shopping basket and brought them to the register. The man working the register previously in charge of the tobacco shop that had been in this spot until last year rang her up.
お嬢ちゃん、この時間によく見かけるね。偉いけど、今度からこの時間のお買い物には、お母さんと一緒においでね。
ママがいいって言ったから大丈夫。ママはいつもお仕事で帰りが遅いけど、マリアたちは寂しくなんかないの。ね、サクタロウ。うりゅー。
そっか、そりゃ大変だね。ほら、ジュースを1本おまけしてあげるよ。
The man working at the store took a can of leftover soda or something from behind the register and packed into the bag with everything else.
おじさん、ありがとう。よかったね、サクタロウ。うりゅー。
Since she had been told not to buy soda, she couldn't take it back home. So she decided to drink it on her way back and not bring the empty can back home. With the plastic bag and with the sweet bun in it hanging from her elbow, and hugging the knapsack with Sakutarou in it at the same time with the same arm, the two of them walked home drinking the soda.
柚子胡椒ソーダって微妙。サクタロも飲んでみる？
What in the fresh hell is yuzu and chili pepper flavored soda? And why would this guy just give it to her? I know he picked random, but come on.
おりゅおりゅおりゅおりゅおりゅおりゅおりゅおりゅマリアひどい。まじゅい。だよね。
Of course, it's not like she could actually make a stuffed animal drink soda. She just put the can to Sakutarou's mouth and pretended to tilt it. But it was great fun for Maria to share the taste of this weird drink that she had gotten for free with Sakutarou. There was a huge moon in the sky. At times, the moon had been clouded by tears when Rosa had stayed over at work, and Maria had thrown a tantrum and been scolded by her mother. But this moon was very warm, and it seemed to watch over the two of them as they enjoyed their trip home by themselves. Maria and Sakutarou. And she watched the two of them go from behind. What a heartwarming sight. The sight of Maria One-chan and Sakutarou walking away together made it very difficult to remember the several occasions on which she had spent long nights crying because her mother hadn't come home. I couldn't admit this to Maria One-chan, but if I had been in the same position, even if I had been given that stuffed animal, the name Sakutarou, it wouldn't have been anything more or less than a stuffed animal. Anyone can make a relationship which only distracts you from your loneliness, but Maria One-chan was different. Sakutarou wasn't a stuffed animal or a toy. He was a real friend, and far from just distracting Maria from her loneliness. He changed the nights without her mother into a fun time where they could play all by themselves. Was it because Sakutarou was a special stuffed animal? Because her mother had made it herself? Because he was very, very cute? Probably not. Or all of the above. If there is a secret here, it doesn't lie within Sakutarou. I think it probably lies within Maria One-chan.
これが、マリアお姉ちゃんの言う、魔法の力なの？
魔法を知るということは、今まですぐそばにいたのに気づけなかった、たくさんの友達に気づけるということ。まるで、新しいおもちゃ屋さんが近所にたくさんできるみたいに楽しいこと。
If I too looked up in the academy without a single friend, locked up in the academy without a single friend, sorry, had the same kind of power as Maria One-chan, I wondered if I could make my days just a bit richer. I wonder if I could become able to honestly shed tears in the nights I feel like crying, and crack a smile when the nights are gray.
できるよ。エンジェはできる。だって、エンジェにだって、魔女になれる資格があるもん。
魔女になる資格。
マリアも魔女になれる資格あるんだよ。だから、まだまだ勉強中の修行中なの。きっと素敵な魔女になって、ほうきでお空をかけて、ケーンで虹を描いて、飴玉を空から降らせるの。マリアはきっとできるよ。そしたら、エンジェにも見せてあげるね。きっとそれは、素敵な夢の中のような光景だから。
Maria One-chan said that, making an absolute promise with her smile. There's no way we can become witches. But when I listen to her speak, I can believe that maybe we really could. Because the fact is, that on this troubled night, when not a single flower of a smile could bloom, her magic had certainly given birth to a smile.
魔女になれるかな？
なれるよ。エンジェは少し年齢を重ねちゃったから、魂が少し重力に惹かれちゃってる。
I'm to assume her definition of gravity really means reality. Like she just has no other means of explaining it clearly.
だから、マリアよりも修行は大変かもしれないけど。
They do say that children are more susceptible to the supernatural because they're still, I guess, their perception of reality isn't, not that it's distorted, but when you start to, you know, grow into adolescence, into adulthood, you start to see reality for what it really is. And that's why a lot of people lose, not the ability per se, but more so the the need to fantasize or dream. But, you know, there are a lot of people like that anyway, but more often than not, that's usually the case.
でも、きっとなれるよ。だってもう、エンジェは魔法の一端に触れてるもの。
私が魔法を？
だってほら、もうこの世にはいない私を、こうして呼び出して語らっているよ。
See, and it's this comment here that makes me question, like, is Ange crazy? Or, again, does magic exist? You know, throughout these whole episodes, the answer is never truly clear. Like, I don't know if the developers are leaving it up to us to decide, or once we get to the final act, will we be shown or, you know, given everything we need to discern whether or not magic truly exists, or it's just a ploy.
これは魔法なの？
私が日記に残した魂のかけらを、エンジェは魔法で膨らませて、私を蘇らせてる。さっきも言ったよね。こうして私と再会して、会話ができて、時に笑顔を見せられるんだから、エンジェは魔法の才能がきっとあるんだよ。
Or maybe Ange is just really lonely and she so desperately wants a friend in you that she conceived you, and right now she's talking to her. Again, it could be that. We don't know.
マリアお姉ちゃんが保証する。
お姉ちゃんはさっき言ったわ。私は日記を開いた時にしか会えないと思ってるけど、本当はいつも身近にいるって。私に魔法の力がもっとあれば、それを見て、今こうしているように、お姉ちゃんと会話ができる？いつでも？
いつでもお話できるよ。朝のおはようの時だって、いつもそばにいるし、授業中だってそばにいる。退屈な授業は、私とお話しして気を紛らわせようよ。食事の時には、話し相手になれるし、お昼休みだって、これまでのように、いつも一緒にいようよ。放課後だって一緒にいるし、もちろん寮に帰ってからだって、私はいつもそばにいる。日記を広げた時にしか、私を見てくれないだけ。
I do like, from the perspective of this world, I was gonna say reality, same thing I guess, that for Ange, in order for her to even see or conceive of Maria, she needs to read her diary because it's the only thing that Maria owns and is bound in her essence. So I like that. Like, I like how specific, like, shows, animes, books, what have you, have a set of rules.
日記を閉じても、マリアお姉ちゃんは、私のそばにいてくれるんだよね。
いるよ。だからエンジェが私を見ようとして、そして話そうとしてくれれば、私はきっと答えられるよ。しっかりと見て、話そうとしてくれれば。
私、やってみる。
簡単じゃないよ。いきなり上手くなんてきっといかないよ。
わかってる。きっと簡単じゃないと思う。でも私、マリアお姉ちゃんみたいになりたい。
And by like you, I hope not a crazy one.
おお、わかった。じゃあ、私をよく見て。しっかり見て。ゆっくり目を閉じたり開いたりして。いきなり長くつむっちゃダメ。私の姿を瞳に焼き付けては、それをまぶたの裏に染み込ませていくつもりで。
やってる。
まぶたを閉じても私をイメージできるようになったら、そのままゆっくり柔らかく目を閉じていて。どう？まだ私が見えている？
多分、見えてると思う。
じゃあ、一度目を開いて。いよいよ本番。心を落ち着けたら、日記を閉じて。その時一度、マリアの姿は消えてしまうかもしれない。でも焦らずに、心を落ち着けて。そして、 まぶたの裏に染み込ませた私を逆に瞳に染み込ませていくつもりで、ゆっくりと虚空に私をイメージして、私を虚空に見て。
大丈夫。じゃあ、閉じるね、日記。
おう。
Slowly, I closed the diary. When I closed the diary, a gray reality filled with dull air unfolded. Of course, Maria Onechan's form disappeared. Give it all you've got. Have courage. Take the first step into the world of witches. I felt like Maria Onechan was cheering me on inside my heart. Cheering me on? Really? Isn't that just what I'd like to imagine? No, that's not it. I just convinced myself that it is, and that's why I cannot see her. Maria Onechan is always by my side. And even now, she's definitely there, cheering me on to do my best. And I can hear it. So I mustn't ignore it like it's my imagination or the inner voice in my own heart. Believe that Maria Onechan is there. I mustn't doubt. I believe. Onechan said she was always by my side. I must not doubt that. But as I faced that empty space, that empty back wall of the school building, amidst those almost heartlessly boring rays of sunlight, calling out her name was so much easier said than done. The chains of common sense which had clung to me until today sneered at me, telling me that calling out to the empty air was ridiculous. It was almost like being told to take a step forward off the roof of a skyscraper, overlooking a sea of lights. Maria Onechan was telling me that it's alright that I can do it. Stop thinking that you might fall, or that it would be foolish to take a step off a roof, and free yourself from those chains of common sense. I steadied my breathing. I concentrated my mind. Make the form of Maria Onechan you can see vividly on the inside of your eyelids, rise to the surface in an empty space before you. Understand magic, and see Onechan.
Maria Onechan. 誰かいるの?
Suddenly, answered by the sound of rustling bushes and a wild cry, I came to my senses. Apparently, I hadn't been the only one behind the school building. No, I'd been so immersed in the world of the diary that I hadn't noticed that someone else had come afterwards. I recognized a group of three beyond the bushes. They were girls from my class. It felt as though they had come behind the school building to gossip about someone or talk in secret. I hurried out of that place. Because if it became known that I had been alone in a place like this, mumbling to myself, it would probably create more things for me to deal with.
言ったよね。言ったよね。マリアお姉ちゃんとか言ったよね。
やばくない？心霊とか見えちゃってんじゃないの？あれ。
後ろ宮さんって面白い。
I could hear the shrill, loud laughter from behind. Irritated and feeling that Maria Onechan had been made fun of, I left that place at a quick pace, and then half run once I turned the corner. And I might have made it to Onechan's world with just a little more time. Frustrating, aggravating. Why does everything get in my way? I've never gotten in their way, not even once. I ran and ran, but it still felt as though I could hear their shrill laughs.
噂じゃ、エンジェちゃん。あんた、ビルのてっぺんから飛び降りたんだって？
追っかけがうざかったんで、ちょっと巻こうと思って。
Ange and an old gentleman wearing an expensive suit were alone in a massive modern conference room. The conference room was equipped with all the latest equipment for presentations, while keeping intact their refined and composed atmosphere. That alone was enough to make abundantly clear the worth of the corporation that was its owner. Alright guys, I'm going to have to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. If anything else, we'll be continuing on in the next one.